Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're here, you are probably attempting to do some sort of Padme Amidala costume, and you want to do her Attack of the Clones meadow scene outfit, which is probably one of the best ones. But anyways, you are looking for this. And this is my little tutorial on how to make Padme Amidala's beautiful golden bun holder things. If you're a total beginner to crochet, I think that you might be able to do this. I'll tell you everything that you need and I'll walk you through it all step by step. So let's get started.
So I'm going to be walking you through this whether you're a beginner or an advanced crocheter. So if you are advanced, I apologize for taking things a little bit slow, but hopefully everyone's going to be able to learn. So all you need is a 2.25 millimeter hook, letter B, and I also have this golden thread by Aunt Lydia's. It's metallic 10. So I'm going to start by making my little slip knot. So we're going to start by chaining, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through, and we want 5 of these. So now we have 5. I'm going to insert it into this little loop here, pull through. All right, so now we have a little circle. And this whole thing is going to be made with chains. So I'm going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to insert our hook into the center of the circle and slip stitch. Oops. Let's try that again. We're going to insert into the circle and holy crap. All right, now we're going to insert into the circle and slip stitch. So now we have this little loop hanging off of our circle, and we want 4 loops total. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so now we have 4 total loops. Don't worry, they might look a little messed up. They're going to flatten out. So I'm going to crochet or chain 7 one more time. And I'm going to connect this to the loop that's just to the left. All right, so you should have something that looks like this. Now we're going to keep crocheting 7, chaining 7, I keep saying that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to keep inserting into the loop to our left. And now we're coming around to connect to our original start of this row past the 4 loops. Okay, so now you should have something like this. It's a bit of a circle. We're going to keep chaining our groups of 7, except we're going to start adding them so that the circle is able to expand. And it's going to look something like this. All right, so this is where the addition is going to come into play. We have this little loop here, and we basically want to add, we've connected this to it, but we want to add an entirely new loop on top of this. So, all right, and so we're going to stick it into the same opening right there. So there's another loop hanging on to this loop. Okay, so now we have to chain 7 to cross over to our next loop, and we're going to repeat this all the way around. At this point, I would recommend using a locking stitch marker to help you remember where you started adding in those extra loops. So I'm going to put it into that first little loop here that I did, because this can all start to look the same. So just put something on here. If you don't have one of these, you can use a safety pin or even an earring. And we just want to remind ourselves where we started making those additions. So this is my first loop on a loop, let's call it. Okay, let's make another loop on a loop. Okay, now this one should be connecting to our next loop. And time for a loop on a loop. Okay, so now we need to do a row of just connecting all of these loops. No more loops on loops, but I'm going to start by connecting this into the original loop on loop here. Okay, now I'm going to go straight ahead and connect this to the next space. All right, so now that we've come around to where our original loop on loop was, we're gonna start doing that again since we've completed this row. So let's make a loop on loop. Okay, I'm going to move my stitch marker up to this new one. All right, and we're going to continue on, and we're going to do that same thing around. So loop on loop, connect, loop on loop, connect, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to show you something. So I totally forgot to do a loop on loop on this last one. So if you ever make a mistake, it's super easy to go back in crochet. I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm going to be very careful to stop at the right moment. There. Okay, so now I'm going to put my hook back into this loop. And we're back with our chain 7, and I could put this into the correct loop. All right, slip stitch, and now I'm back on track. Okay, I've got my loop here, and I'm just going to connect back to my original loop. Okay, you should have something that looks like this. We're going to repeat the process that we did the last time, and now just do connections all the way around, no more loops on loops. So at this point, you want to decide how big you want this to be, which all depends on how much hair you have. For me, stopping about right here with the increases is reasonable. And so I am going to show you how to start wrapping it up. Now, if you have more hair, you would just do another row of loops on loops followed by the connections. And if you have less hair, you could even stop at like one row of loops on loops. So I am going to show you now that I think I've finished my increases, I am going to show you how we're gonna wrap things up, and we're still gonna have a few more rows, so it is going to get a bit bigger than this. Okay, we're gonna do one row of connections all the way around. Now we're going to do one more row of connections. So basically when you want to start wrapping up your bun holder, you're going to want 3 rows of connection after your last loop on loop, if that makes sense. So here I go for one more row of connections. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is make sure that this has a little bit of grip to it. And so we want to sort of close that circle so that there's not a lot of give. Right now, it should be a little stretchy. We want that. And now we're going to make a border that's not so stretchy, and it's going to turn it into more of an actual bun shape. So we are going to chain 2 only and then slip stitch. So we're doing the same method of connecting, except now we're only chaining 2, and this is going to close off that circle. And for my last one, I'm going to chain 2 and insert it into our first chain 2 hole. And now it's complete. Let's fasten it off. I've had this one kind of stretching out on one of these crochet threads overnight. So this one is looking a little bigger, but it's more even, I suppose. So that's one thing that you could do. All right, now I'm going to take this and pull this through. Tighten. All right, we don't need this anymore. So all that's left to do now is to tuck in the ends. All right, so I'm going to use a darning needle. If you don't have one of these, you could use your crochet hook, but basically we want to take this end and sort of weave it into what we've already made so that we don't just have this sticking out. It's a little bit harder with something as thin as chains, but I'm just going to take these little loops, get them up on my needle, and hopefully that will be enough to hide this. So I'm going to insert this into here and pull it through. Okay, now I'm going to just cut off that extra little bit. All right, and now let's do the middle. And you are done. Okay, so here's your finished product. Of course, you have to make 2. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful at all, if you have any questions. And I really hope your costume / hairdo turns out well. Thanks, bye.